What they don't tell you about the hips in the downswing to get you open at impact, like you see with the best players here, is a specific feel. Now this feel, one, not only rotates you to where you're getting in that brilliant open rotated position, which is essential for playing really good golf, but also keeps you down through the shot. It's great for guys who early extend, so it maintains that posture, moves you through the golf ball really nicely. And I've been using this with so many of my students with online lessons, and here is the result. Here's one of my students, as you can see with this impact position. This was one on the left before the feel and after this feel on the right. So absolutely only a day apart those two swings were. You can see the amount of gains it can make. And what is that feel? Pushing the hips back as much as you can in the downswing, so especially the left hip in the downswing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit two shots here. I'm going to hit one where I'm doing the traditional trying to open up the hips, just trying to spin the hips open. That's going to be one swing, and the next swing I'm going to try and just push the hips back as much as I can, and we're going to analyze that and have a look and dive into it and tell you after that some good drills to get into the positions we want with this feel. So okay, let's have a look. This is the spinning shot. Okay. Now this is the one where I'm pushing the hips back, this amazing feel. Already felt way better that shot, so let's dive into and analyze those swings, talk about it, and we'll get back here and tell you how to do it. So let's look at these two swings. So on the left, that is the one where I have this feel of pushing the hips back, and the one on the right is the traditional trying to just rotate the hips, trying to spin them. So okay, let's have a look here. Now what we're going to notice is a good few things start to happen. One, in how open I get, there's going to be a difference, and how the club starts to move going through the golf ball is going to be incredibly different also. So let's just dive straight into it. Let's get up to the top of the backswing on both, and we'll start that downswing. So very similar top of the backswing positions. Now let's start our way down. So on the left here, so this is pushing the hips back. If we just run through, we can see kind of nice of a shaft shallowing movement we're seeing here. Something I always hear with students once I give them this move. They start to shallow the club on their own. Absolutely something to expect to see in your own golf swing. So we can see there, impact-wise, you can see a ton of my left leg at impact. That's a great one to see how open your hips are getting. If you can see that left leg at impact, you're getting nice and open. So we can see a nice bit of side bend there. And as we move through the golf ball, good strike, club exits left underneath. Very, very nice. Now, the one of the traditional spinning the hip. So we're going to see club shaft still has a little shallow move, absolutely. But we're going to see that right side is kicking out towards the golf ball. Where, absolutely, that is going to cause some problems when it comes to, one, striking. The more we have that right side start to fire and start to open up, as that was my feeling here, really rotating a little bit more with the right side. I'll push it close to the golf ball, which will push the golf club a little bit further outside the ball line, which can lead to shanking the golf ball. A lot of you who try to rotate and you shank the golf ball, this is why. So we're going to see, okay, that's one big thing we know can happen. So we can see dangerously close to the hosel. Now, if I continue to go through, look at the release pattern. See this big rolly. See how the body has completely stalled out in its rotation too. So, of course, that stalled out of rotation causes the hands and arms to fire, which causes a lot of club face rotation. Where when we look at the one where I'm pushing the hips back more, we can see the hands absolutely have a little bit more of a left exit, and the rotation continues nice and constant. And even if we stop ourselves here, you can see how the club shaft has exited underneath the shoulder plane, which is a good sign of a good continuous rotational move going through the golf ball. That means stable club face. What we can see here, you can see how me trying to rotate and spin the hips has got me to where the club shaft is now above the shoulder plane, which means my efforts in rotation haven't actually materialized going through the golf ball. They have led for me to stall out and flip. So, huge one. Even if we go to the very basic thing of looking at how our pelvis has moved in its front and back movement in relationship to early extension, we're going to see definitely a little difference. So we can see here on the left, pushing the pelvis back, you can see, if anything, I've pushed beyond the line there. So absolutely great for the early extenders. Now, let's see how I do here. So we can see, absolutely, a gap has already formed. between the pelvis and the hips. So a lot of the times players are early extending. That's happening because of how they're trying to rotate. So we want to push those hips back. We don't want to try and spin the hips. So let's get on camera and let's talk about exactly how to get this pushing the hips back into your swing with some good drills. So guys, a brand new course is now live on my Skillist, and that is Fixing Your Early Extension Masterclass. And in this course, absolutely everything you need to know about how to fix early extension and everything you need to know about early extension and what causes it. So we get into the root causes, everything that causes that problem, and in depth. And then we get into exactly what to do to fix each one of those root causes with the optimized practice structure. And with all my students, you see, let's say from my YouTube videos here, where I'll do videos on how they fix their early extension, those crazy big gains they make in a very short space of time. It's the same practice structure I've used with every single one of those students that have achieved massive success in fixing this problem fast. Early extension is only a big issue in the golf swing if you don't know how to tackle it. When you know how to tackle it, it is very straightforward, and I give you all the tools to be able to fix it in no time in this course. So there's a link in the description that takes you straight to my Skillist page, so the website of Skillist, and if you scroll down you'll see online courses. It will be right there. Brand new course, absolutely brilliant. There's tons of info in there. It's absolutely going to be the most comprehensive guide to fix your early extension that you've ever seen online. So as we could see from that analysis there, pushing the hips back, that left hip really pushing back, has so many benefits to it. Like we could see, just like we said in the beginning of the video, keeps you in posture, gets you rotated. Now, I was rotated in both of them, but way more rotated on the hips back in a much safer way as well. That's better for the back. So important here, and it also has a great benefit of shallowing the golf club for players. It's one of the things I see a lot of my students start to get in their golf swing. Much more so, it's a nice shallow shaft from doing this. Helps with your sequencing. So, okay, how do we go about doing this? I'm going to talk about some great drills to do and some good feels. So let's get straight into that. So, of course, what is the feel? The feel, like we said, is getting the pelvis pushed back as much as you can. That's part of it. Well, the other part of it is using your imagination. Imagine there's a wall right here, just a couple foot behind us. So something I've been talking about quite a lot as well on my channel recently. I want you to push those hips back to that imaginary wall as much as you can. Now, a great way to get this feel, if I jump over the swamp, which is my net at the moment, and I get myself here to where I've got a wall, let's say about half a club's distance behind me. Let me get up to the top of my swing, and what I want to do there is just feel like I'm pushing my hips back onto the wall. So that's my feeling. I'm really pushing them back. So I'm pushing them back loads. You could even see here, if you can even see it, I'll zoom in a little bit. Look what's happening to my left toe. So see how my toes on my left foot are coming up there as I'm exaggerating this. So this tells you where's my pressure going into that left heel big time. I'm not necessarily trying to do that. It's just me pushing my hips back as much as I can is getting that visual. So brilliant. That feel I just gained from there, what can I do? I can go and do that with the golf ball. That same feel, that wall's behind me a couple foot. I'm trying to push back as much as I can. And then you can see how open you get. This is going to be such a light bulb moment for a lot of you when it comes to rotation. I'm not even trying to rotate. I haven't even said about rotating the hips. They're just pushing them back. Pushing them back gets them open. So don't need to try and spin them open. Don't need to try and rotate them. Just push them back. Now, another great drill, just grab a golf club, preferably like a wedge or something, put it underneath your right heel. Now, what you want to do, get the shaft, put the shaft to where it's just behind your left leg there. Now, if I'm now pushing my left hip back, I'm going to hit the shaft with my left leg quite fast in the downswing. That's what I want. I want to hit the shaft with my left leg. I could even just think that alone, hitting the shaft with my left leg, and that's going to push my hips back. That's going to rotate me. But this prevents players from spinning the hips out as well. So spinning the hips out with that right hip driving forward. What's that doing? That's lifting up that right heel. That's dropping the club underneath. So that's just a great way to safely and properly rotate the hips, but it's all via pushing the hips back. So pushing those hips back, I could, like I said, even just view it as getting and making sure my left leg hits this club shaft behind me as soon as I can. Drop the club from underneath my foot post impact. Boom. Really nice. Gets you rotating really nicely. Absolutely awesome. I'd recommend that for so many people to learn properly how to turn those hips. There's one more drill to go through though. So guys, saved the best drill for last here. It's the one where you all thought about, when is he going to talk about the chair drill if he's talking about hips and the downswing? I got you, because it's here. So, of course, if you've watched my channel a lot, you know I talk about this drill all the time because it's brilliant for this problem. Again, if I've got a chair here and it's just at the top of my hamstrings, what do I need to do to be able to achieve this same feel? I need to push the chair back as much as I can. It gives me brilliant feedback. If I'm not pushing the chair back, I'm not pushing the hips back. Simple. So, a great one to target something nice and complex, but in a good fashion as well. Good other thing, push it back with your right hip in the backswing. It's another really good one. That'll prevent a lot of you from early extending out there. So let's hit a ball here. Boom, there we go. And as you can see from that slow-mo, pushing that chair back, absolutely brilliant. Awesome one to go through. Any of those drills would be great. Reframing your mind, clearing and rotating the hips, pushing the hips back, gets you doing it. It gets you staying in posture just like we could see. This is why so many of you golfers out there saying when you try to rotate the hips, you get stuck. It's because you're doing it wrong. You'll never get stuck pushing the hips back, gets that body going forward, gets that right arm in front of you. Not going to get stuck from there. So if you enjoyed this video, click that like button for more golf instruction, just like this. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video.